The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Something bigger is happening in the continent. Even though sometimes when these people come, they package their things in a way that we find it so difficult to understand what actually they are selling to us. It is very worrisome that people are using their so-called system on us in Africa here in order to gather data. It's like everything of ours is in the hands of other people. I came across a video and I decided that this is something worth sharing, so I have to share it with you. In this video, there is a young man who is exposing something to Africa. According to him, Israel has a surveillance in Africa, and this is to gather some intelligence for Israel. And already we have some countries like Senegal, Congo, and more countries, especially since these things are mostly in the places that France had its colonies. These are the countries for now that have purchased this thing, and some of them have tested this thing already. We believe that this thing is to help us, but according to what he's saying, it is much bigger than we thought. It is for these people rather to gather certain things concerning us. So in Africa, we are just sitting here and everything of ours is in the hands of other people. So we control nothing, and that is why we are powerless.
It's cheating when a player knows everything about the others. Be that player. This slogan isn't for your next friendly poker game, but belongs to the Israeli cyber espionage company Bolt Analytics. So this probably doesn't ring a bell right now. Bolt Analytics, but the company I'm about to tell you about today, is one of the most powerful satoots, the most secretive and most dangerous in the world. Bolt Analytics was rebuilt from the ashes of NSO, the Israeli firm that developed the infamous Pegasus spyware. I imagine that sounds more familiar already. That famous Pegasus which hacked the phones of thousands of politicians, journalists, and human rights defenders worldwide, sometimes leading them to their deaths. And what I'm revealing exclusively here is how Bolt Analytics, founded by a close associate of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, named Shlomi Fogel, remember that name well, is following in the footsteps of its predecessor, NSO, and its notoriously infamous creation, Pegasus. For the past 2 years, Bolt has been offering, or even selling, its own similar spyware, named Robin and Toucan, to African regimes often close to France, Senegal, Benin, Côte d'Ivoire, Cameroon, and even the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And if you stay until the end of this video, it'll even show you checktones from surveillance conducted by Senegal's new authorities using the Robin software sold by Bolt. Before diving into the murky waters of Israeli cyber espionage in Africa, you can subscribe to this channel. It'll give me some strength and fond memories. When I eventually end up in the hands of the Mossad, I'll think of you, I promise. Friends, Chronicle of Friends Africa, of Israel, Africa, where I reveal to you the existence of Pegasus' successor for monitoring Africa. Here we go. The tragedy of Africa is that the African man has not yet fully entered history. France, on the other hand, is linked to Africa, and there is a kind of convergence of shared interests. But you spoke to me as if I were the president of Burkina Faso. Somewhere, you were talking to me as if I was still a colonial power. It's a secret surveillance tool that has generated a lot of talk. In the 20th century, there was the Bulgarian umbrella. In the 21st century, it's the Pegasus spyware that caused a scandal. In the mid-2010s, this formidable weapon of war was used, in Africa as well as in Europe, to infiltrate the funds of anyone who stood in the way of the powerful and the big bad actors from carrying out their shady dealings. Moreover, quite often, the big bad actors also spied on each other, phone numbers belonging to the President of the Republic, as well as the former Prime Minister, Edouard Philippe, and 14 other members of the government at the time indeed appear on a list, selected by Morocco for potential hacking using the Israeli spyware Pegasus. Once the tool is inside the mobile phone, the spy, the person who manages to install it onto their victim's phone, can do absolutely anything. All that mattered was having the phone number. Inside the phone, it's possible to activate and record via the microphone. Of course, it's also possible to view the entire contents of the mobile phone. It's also possible, of course, to film. In short, it's a spy inside the phone. And so, based on these capabilities, it's possible to do absolutely anything to spy on the phone's owner. Journalists like the Saudi Jamal Khashoggi and opponents of numerous dictatorships in Bahrain, Rwanda, Kazakhstan, were all spied on using the Israeli software Pegasus, which was marketed, as I mentioned earlier, by their company NSO. Jamal Khashoggi even lost his life because of it, as the spyware helped lure him into a trap at the Saudi Arabian consulate in Istanbul, where he was brutally murdered in 2018. In Togo under Nassim Bey, an old Francophone autocracy, with which Israel has forged strong ties, Pegasus was, of course, used, including against the country's most prominent investigative journalist, Ferdinand Ayait. Indeed, my phone number was found in the database. Often. When the Pegasus scandal broke, and then afterward, there was this global scandal. And we know very well that the Togolese government extensively used this software to spy on journalists, politicians, civil society leaders, religious figures, even within the regime itself, the military and several powerful insiders. So this was clearly a method worthy of a tyrannical regime. It's not. And today we know such methods continue. Moreover, the Togolese dictatorship's collaboration with Israeli surveillance firms didn't stop with Pegasus. According to Africa Intelligence, the Nassimbi regime has just signed a major contract worth 20 million euros with a cybersecurity firm based near Tel Aviv called May Group. And May Group is supposed to equip and train Togolese intelligence services, who will obviously use these technologies to track opponents of Nassim Bey. Nassimbi, but for NSO Pegasus developer, things are looking a bit grim. It's become significantly harder to secure new contracts. The global scandal that erupted around the spyware software led to NSO being blacklisted almost everywhere, and even receiving a fine in California for hacking WhatsApp accounts, even though the amount, let's be honest, of $4 million is minimal, compared to the insane amount of money NSO must have made from its Golden Goose Pegasus. So, NSO, which today is somewhat trapped by its reputation and smelling trouble, has used a technique as old as time. It pretended to shut down shop before reopening, after only roughly repainting the facade. Most of NSO's executives joined another company called Bold Analytics. Now, officially, Bold Analytics is specialized in mass internet data analysis. That sounds almost harmless, when put that way, a perfect cover. But what's interesting is that this young startup was discreetly founded by Shlomi Fogel, a billionaire who made his fortune in real estate, and who is also a close associate of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the same one who is under an arrest warrant from the ICC and is currently committing genocide in Gaza. According to an investigation by the Israeli press, Shlomi Fogel allegedly helped transfer funds to the Hamas movement for years, thereby serving Netanyahu's strategy, which, de facto, strengthened Hamas before October 7, 2023 at the expense of its Palestinian rivals. It is this same Shlomi Fogel who recruited former NSO employees to set up Bold Analytics. According to the media outlet Intelligence Online, 19 of Bold's 25 employees previously worked at NSO. That's quite a crowd, and these veterans of cyber espionage have clearly resumed their old habits.
As much as our leaders, like there's one man who said, we are in the 21st century. This is not the time for us to sit here in this 21st century for other people to come here and sell certain things to us. Like he said, one man in the diaspora said, we the Africans need to start doing things on our own. If there's something that actually is of a necessity to us in Africa, we should gather the people in Africa to do it for us with the necessary materials and the guide that we need, instead of depending on these people who came here and colonized us. My people will say you are sleeping in the room, yet your legs are outside. This is what is happening to us in Africa. So people have us in their palm, and that is why they can come here and do anything at all that they want, because the leaders that we have are not fighting against certain things. All the things that we get from these people, they package them very nice to us in Africa. They don't tell us the main motive. So we also get them, and we are so excited that we are in a technological world. So for that matter, we need certain things to guide us. But we don't have the the know-how to be able to tell whether these things that we are getting from these same people who are fighting us day in, day out are actually what they claim they are. We only start using, and our data ends up in the hands of these people. So whatever that they want to do in Africa, they still have the upper hand to come here and do everything that they want, which is bad. We need to start doing things on our own. This is not the time for the African leader to sit there and be talking. We know how to do everything, like this man from the diaspora said. Our leaders are good at talking. They know what to do in speech. But when it comes for them to do things in real life, they find it difficult. It's like our leaders are still shivering when it comes to these people. And that is why these people always decide what they want in Africa, because they know the kind of leaders that we have can never stand up to these people. If truly we are ready to be free, like they say in their African Union summit, I think by now African Union should even gather people in Africa here that will be in charge of things like this, instead of us getting these things outside of Africa. Even if we will get them outside of the continent, it should be from trusted people and not the people who are bent on making sure that the African never rises. These people are making sure they continue to survive on the African. Theirs is not to do anything for themselves, but to continue to be taking the resources out of Africa, because they believe that the African do not deserve what we have here. And that is why they are fighting us day in, day out. But as much as we want our leaders to start acting instead of speaking, they do more of the speaking. And they'll get people at the end of the day that will sit on television and to pollute us in the name of educating us that they've acquired ABC from these people, not knowing the danger of what they have brought into the continent. And we need to wake up. We really need to wake up, because if these people want to harm us, they will never tell you what I am giving to you is to harm you. But we are still sitting here expecting that anytime they want to do us harm, they should rather tell us that this thing is this ABCD. Why are they fighting to make sure the African never controls the narrative? These are the things that we want our leaders to put their heads together to address, and not for us to continue to be dependent on these people as if the African isn't capable of anything. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said, we are capable of managing our own affairs, but it seems like ever since these people left, the democratically elected ones that we have are proving what our freedom fighters, our predecessors, said to be wrong. The freedom fighters, with their sweat and everything, making sure they tell the world what the African can do. And we know that we are capable, because all the things that we are using, most of them, like sometime I showed you videos, even phones, these video calls, and all these things that we are seeing, and we believe that they are things that were invented by the oppressor Yellow Pawpaw. It's not true. Africans are behind all these things, but at the end of the day, they use the face of Yellow Pawpaw to take the glory of Africa. And we still have our leaders who are in Africa making sure these people come here in the name of scholarships to be taking away the brilliant ones out of our continent. And these are the people who go and sit in African Union and be singing Pan-Africanism. We can be Pan-Africans when we still believe that the colonizer deserves everything good, and not us in Africa. And we should also fight to control the narrative by being able to do things that we want, and not allowing other people to bring into Africa things that they can use to monitor us in Africa and still control us. It's painful. It's so painful that we are still facing this in this 21st century with this kind of people who say they're educated. Like Dr. Arekana said, we don't expect people who went and schooled with the colonizer to be a good leader in Africa. And these are the people who are leading us, and no wonder we are still where we are in Africa. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world. In Africa.